first thing we need is definitely some apples and a cutting board. My cutting board happens to be wooden, so I took some saran wrap and I'm just gently tucking it under so that when we start to chop up the apples, they don't splatter everywhere. So now I got 2 Honeycrisp apples from Whole Foods yesterday. I also have a Red Delicious that's here. I'll use that too. Most people use Granny Smith apples, I've heard, for apple pie. I do have 1 Granny Smith left. I'm not particular on any specific apple. I actually do like Red Delicious, but I know they're not the best for making anything because they're kind of dry. So I'm just going to use the 5 apples that I have. Although we are peeling the skin off the apples, we do still want to wash them. I am just using regular distilled water vinegar. I'm going to pour a little bit into this mixing dish. What you heard the vinegar hit was some water that I previously poured in it before I started recording. And now we're just going to rinse off each apple in the water, and then I'm going to rinse them off good inside the sink. So, of course, you want to peel any little label or anything that's left on the apple. So you just want to really make sure you get in there, because the vinegar is to kill any bacteria that might still be lingering on the outside. We're going to do this with all the apples. So again, peeling off the labels and just making sure we rinse it really good in the vinegar before we wash it off in the sink. So now that you've rinsed all of them in the vinegar, we're just going to rinse each of them in regular water to wash off the vinegar. We're going to dry them off, of course. We want to make sure we dry them really well. Now that all of your apples are dry and placed back on the cutting board, we are going to start chopping. So, as you guys know by the title of this video, this is my first time making apple pie. I'm not using a recipe. I'm not super versed in the kitchen. I could do a few good things, but I'm not great at peeling fruit. So bear with me. Please don't laugh while I attempt to peel this prior to chopping them up. Okay, I really don't even know how to start. Alright, let's see. Okay, let's be real with each other. We all know you never peel an apple. Like, you peel an orange, you peel a grapefruit. Like, we just eat apples. We don't really peel them. So I'm trying my best to like peel it without taking too much of the apple off. Not too bad for a first time, right? Not crazy great, but not too bad. I am definitely going to fast forward during this part because we're clearly going to be here for a while. At this point, I'm going to try my best to take off as much of the skin as possible. And like whatever's left over isn't going to kill us, right? Maybe it just gives our apple pie a little crunch, you know, a little something extra to munch on. Alright, I'm gonna chop this in half because I could peel the rest while it's chopped. I feel like that'll actually be easier. Now, what are we going to do with the apple skins? I don't know. We're here together. We're going to figure this out together. And hopefully the apple pie comes out good. So, fun fact about me. I am a first generation American, which means I'm the only person in my family born in America. So at like Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything of that nature, whenever somebody wants like an apple pie or a pecan pie or a pumpkin pie, which I don't think I've ever had, they always like make jokes and want me to make it. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea what this is. But I do love apple pie, and I feel like you can make anything that you've tasted before. That's why I decided not to use a recipe per se, because I'm like, how hard could it be? You know you taste apples in it, you know you taste cinnamon, you know what you're tasting. So the best thing to do is to like try not to overkill it, but we'll see throughout the rest of this process how that goes. It's not crazy, it's not the best, but it's not like the worst either. Alright, we also have to definitely take the pit out. Alright, I only want the pit. Like, we're not going to waste apples here. I just told you guys that I'm Caribbean. So, you know, Caribbean people, well, not even only Caribbean people, anyone from a developing nation, we don't waste food. A lot of people in America try their best not to waste food. So, let's just pit this out. We're like making a mess on the little saran wrap. But, you know, it's okay. So I know right now you guys are wondering, where am I going to put the apples after I cut them up? I am going to put them in a mixing bowl, of course. So we're going to use this bowl right here. I am just going to quickly wash it out. And then as soon as we peel each one, chop each one up, they go straight in there, and we're going to start the process. Okay, so now that they have been peeled for the most part, I am not going to bore you guys with cutting up all these apples because, come on, we could all figure out how to cut up an apple. If this is my attempt and I'm showing you guys this, we can all try our best to figure it out. So I'm just going to chop in half. I'm going to chop them into as small sections as possible. So let me push all the skin to the back. That's another thing that's great about the saran wrap, because I'm going to keep pushing everything to the back, and when I'm finished at the end, I just pick it up and I throw it out. So I'm going to chop these up as fine as possible. So, see, in little pieces. I'm going to even put this even more minuscule. I'm going to chop that in half as well. We're just going to slice this all up. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. It's not going on display. We're not going to send this to a 5-star restaurant. It's just the apples that we're going to basically puree to put in the pie. So, yeah. If apple is your favorite fruit, please give this video a thumbs up. If you are a first-generation American, but your family assumes that for some reason you know how to make all the greatest desserts America has to offer, give this video a thumbs up as well, and comment down below with an apple emoji. So, I washed the pan already off camera, and you're gonna see me pick these apples up and just like throw them in a corner. I promise you I'm not putting them on the table. I have the pan right here on the side. I just don't feel like moving the camera at this point. And I'm just gonna put each piece into the pan where we're gonna do all of the mixing. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you are, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays there's no place else but home. Whew. Now, as you can see, I've changed the workstation. I just have the bare counter. I put some saran wrap on top just to protect it. We took out 2 lemons because that's what we're going to use next. And this is what our apples look like now. I did have them in the fridge overnight because it was pretty late when I was recording yesterday. So we're gonna leave the apples here first. We're gonna take a lemon. I washed the lemons already. I'm gonna cut it in half, and we're gonna sprinkle some lemon juice on top. So we definitely want the apples to be juicy. We want to bring all the nutrients out. We just want it to be a succulent apple pie. Like we want, when your grandmother comes over this Thanksgiving, she said, "Oh, child, I didn't know you could bake like this. If I knew you could bake like this, I would let you bake years ago." So we're gonna do that for about the 2 lemons, just so we could get it all around. And then we're gonna sprinkle some lemon zest. And what I'm going to do for the zest is, out of the 2 lemons, I look to see which one had like less, like which one looked like it wasn't in the dirt longer. And we're just gonna scrape off a little bit. So usually people use a grater for zest. I do have one, but I figure, why not? We're here trying a thing. So let's just sprinkle a little bit because we don't want too much. And now I'm going to repeat this step with the second lemon. Now, before we get to the real fun part, I just want to urge everyone to make sure you wash your hands. I just had to pick all the little seeds from the lemons out of the apples, but of course I washed my hands again before doing that. So next step, we're going to take some cinnamon. I just have this, what is this, Angel Spice. It's just a local, well, not a local company, but I mean I got it from my local supermarket. Now remember, you want your apple pie to be delicious. So we're gonna flip this around a little bit. Like I said, my hands are washed. I'm gonna turn it just so we can get further down, and I'm gonna sprinkle a little more cinnamon. Now I'm going to grate some nutmeg. Shout out to all the Grenadians that are watching this. If you're a Grenadian, please like this video. Please come back and watch some more. Hey, I want everybody to watch some more too though. And I want everybody to start using nutmeg. It's so good for you. It's so delicious. It's a great additive for anything you're gonna add cinnamon to. I put this in my hot chocolate. Like I put this almost in everything. So I'm gonna put an ample amount of nutmeg. I have no idea where my mom got this tiny grater, but this is just a nutmeg one. Like they make this just for this purpose, and it comes so much in handy. Okay, so now it's marinating in the lemon juice, it's marinating in the cinnamon, in the nutmeg, everything we want. I actually want to put a tad bit of vanilla as well, and we're gonna add the sugar. So now with the sugar, we're probably gonna want to put like, it's an apple pie, right? It's dessert. I don't know, we could do like half. Maybe, you know what? Let's do 2/3. Because I know some people put like a cup, some people put 1/2. I don't want it too sweet, but I don't want it too bland either. We're having dessert now, aren't we? So I'm gonna pour about 2/3 a cup. Oh my goodness, did you guys just see the splatter? Look at this rock. Oh! All right, so you know what? I am gonna pause the video and grab a spoon, clean this up a little bit, and we'll be right back to this process. I definitely ran out of hand paper towel, so what I'm going to do is, as you can see, let me get it a little flat. I have a little bit under 2/3, a little bit above 1/2. I'm gonna sprinkle it in on top. Yeah, so after I put this to marinate in the fridge for a little bit longer, I will run out to the store and grab some hand paper towels so I could clean up. But yeah, see, it's starting to look like apple pie. It's starting to smell like apple pie, which is kind of amazing. I know some people who want it a little chunkier might not add heat, but after this, I'm gonna keep it in the fridge for maybe like 10 minutes, because like I said, these apples stayed in the fridge overnight as it is already, so they were marinating in its own natural juice, which is just incredible. We're gonna sprinkle the rest of the sugar in. Yeah, right now, it looks a little too sweet, but I promise you, even though I have not made this recipe before, that there's no way it would come out too sweet. Gonna stir this all up. Do 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 do. I actually want to add a tad bit more cinnamon and a special ingredient. Some Ray and Nephew, because like I'm half Jamaican and it's not a dessert if you don't sprinkle a little bit of white overproof rum in it. Now, for the kids watching this video, please do not add this to your apple pie, nor should you give it to a child. So if you know you have young ones, especially babies coming, that you might want to give a piece of the pie, you could leave that ingredient out. Look at this lemon seed, but we caught it. So, it literally smells like a rum cake, it smells like apple pie, it smells like cinnamon, it smells like fall, it smells like love, like it smells so amazing. All right, so this is the final product, guys. And now I am going to run to the store to get some hand paper towel to clean this up. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. What I've been using to cover it is the baking tin that I bought yesterday. This cost me about like $1.99. It came with 2. I washed 1. I'm gonna use this to cover it, and I'm gonna just dip it in the fridge, let it stay for, like I said, 15 minutes, and then we're gonna do some work with the skillet. Okay, so as you guys can see, we've switched sides. I am now going to add some butter. I just cut off a piece. I don't want too much. I was aiming for like 1/4-ish. I just don't want to overdo it with the butter. I'm going to turn it on to about a medium, like a 5 maybe. Just add the butter in there. Let's wait for this to melt. Oh, this butter's like dancing. It doesn't want to like lay flat. What is going on here? All right, there we go. Let's wait for this to melt, and then we're gonna add in the apples. I'm not making apple pie filling. I am just going to allow the apples and juice and everything to marinate in here. That way, whichever ones melt out will be the filling, and whichever pieces are chunkier will remain to be the apples left in the pie. So I'm going to grab the lid and cover it up to let it steam up for a little bit. We'll check on this in about 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're back in our original workstation. I have the Pillsbury Pie Crust, like homemade, without the hassle. That's the only reason why I'm using it. I was going to make pie crust from scratch, but I figured since this is my first time making apple pie, let me not overdo it. I tried reading the box. It doesn't really have much instructions. The instructions are actually more for apple pie. Oh, this is amazing. It literally comes with the 2 rolls. Oh, that's why they don't have much there. Okay, great. So I'm gonna get a rolling pin and we're just gonna roll this out into the tin. Awesome. Okay, so I was mistaken. There are instructions right here on the side. I read them. It basically said that these are ready to go. You just have to have them thaw out for about 15 minutes if you left them in the fridge like I did, and then you just lay them in the pan. But what I have chosen to do, as you can see, I sprinkled a little flour, and let me actually put the rolling, and yes, this is a children's one. This is the one I've had since I was a little girl, and for some reason I cannot find the adult size one, so I just primarily use it. So what I am going to do is just lay it out and kind of re-roll it for a second just to see the length so I have a better idea of what I'm dealing with. Oh wow. This crust is like really thin and flaky and nice. I don't know if anybody watching this video right now makes roti or knows how to, but this is kind of like what you want your roti to look like. So once I saw how flaky and nice this was, I'm like, this is amazing, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna dust it out. I don't want to break the ends, but I also do want to make sure that it is flat. Yes, I'm basically killing a dead horse, but I want to make sure it's perfect before I lay it in the pan. Alright, so now let's grab the pan. So like I mentioned before, this is a pan I plan to use. Let me just dust off the excess flour. Alright, so we want to make sure that we gently put this in. We want it to be even, so feel underneath and kind of tuck it in. Because you want to make sure that it fits in the pan perfectly, and you also want to make sure it's not going to rip. So see, this side is a little, it could come over a little bit more this way, and now it should be even. This is like really exciting. We're at the stage now where we're like, wow, the pie is almost done. For you guys, I'm going to try to make this video short. I'm going to try to see if I can fit everything into like 15 minutes or less. But for me, I have been at this since yesterday. Now, yes, I started late at night, so I ended up putting everything in the fridge and calling it a night until right now. But it's still been a process nonetheless. Alright, I'm going to bring it over a little bit more on this side. And it seems like we're done. So now I'm going to focus on finishing the filling. The apples are still heating up. And then we're going to pour it in and we're going to get this in the oven. Whew, exciting. Okay, so now I've turned off the apples. I'm just letting them sit for a while. We are going to do the top of the apple. So I actually decided that I wanted the top layer of crust to be slightly different. So you know when you buy apple pie and it has the little strips, I prefer to do that just so I could lay them across. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice going straight across. You see? Slice going straight across. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. I just decided that instead of putting breathing holes, I'm like, let me do this. I'm not going to cut the middle ones because I want a few long to make sure that I can cover the pie fully. So now that we're done with that, I am going to put the apples in the bottom crust and we're gonna get this started. Yeah, now this is the final product. I think I put a little too much lemon juice. I neglected to remember that apples naturally have their own juice. So I am going to just knock a few in here. I don't want it too watery, so I'm not even gonna pour the juice that came off the apple. So we're gonna continue this process and I'll show you at the end. Do you guys see the steam coming out of that? Doesn't it look delicious? So this is our almost final product. The next step I am going to, oh, that means the oven is finally heated. I am going to lay the strips across. So I've decided to kind of tuck in the pie crust. So I'm going to put 2 anchor strips going this way and that way as you saw. And I'm going to try to fuse this into the outer crust, and then everything else will just be surrounding. I just want it to look pretty. Like I want it to have a style to it. So I am going to like push this here. I have another broad piece that I'll put on the bottom. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this. You just want to make sure that your pie crust is a succulent crust. So you see, I'm going to bend it over. I have a couple more strips left. I'm going to put this other long strip going this way. But I am going to cut it in half. The last long strip. You know what? I'm going to move this one. So let's put this here. And then I am going to use this one on top. I have a few extra pieces of dough that I'm not particularly sure if I'll need yet based off how this is looking right now. But see, I'm just going to replace that, put it in. Let's tuck this end in like how we did with the other side. Tuck it in. We do want our pie to be covered, but we also want it to have breathing space. So we could pull each of these pieces over, some to the right or left, whichever way, so that the apples could peek out, so that it's not going to boil over when we put it in the oven. So I'm going to pull this one all the way over, and I will add this piece right here. Let's put that underneath. I'm being particular because I also want to have a slight presentation, of course, especially if you're watching this close to Thanksgiving and you're making this recipe for the dinner table. You want it to look nice. Yes, it's your first time making apple pie, and for some of you guys it's not, but you still want to have that glamour to it. You want that factor where your grandmother and your mother is going to say, wow, you did such an amazing job with this. Yes, I'm splitting this piece in half just because I want to tuck it in on top but underneath. Just going to bend over all the ends, and we're going to give it kind of like a flower design. So we're just going to bend it and bend it. And don't worry if your pie doesn't look perfect or if it looks a little crazy right now. We can fix that. We're going to turn each piece around and bend it, and we're going to press them in. That way it starts to look like a real pie. I met a man who lived in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. Well, this one's apple, but oh my goodness. Am I the only one that's singing Christmas songs already? And we haven't even hit Thanksgiving yet. The traffic is terrific, oh there's no place like home for the holidays. And that is an apple pie, guys. That is an apple pie. So I will stick this in the oven now. I already set the oven to 350. I never feel like there's any need to set your oven higher than 350. You just have to make sure to watch it. So I'm going to open the oven and tuck it in. So what I'm going to do is take this foil, split it in half, and cover the edges of the pie so that it doesn't burn. So this way it cooks. It's crispy, but we don't have burnt edges. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Yes, this is hot. If you are afraid of touching a hot pie, you could do this step prior to putting it in the oven. The most important thing, like we did with the slit holes earlier, we want the pie to breathe. So we want to make sure that there is enough space for the pie to basically get out under there. Okay, we're gonna switch this up a little bit. I'm trying to like maneuver it without damaging the pie. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing that we've done in this kitchen today is perfect. And that's the best part of this video. I'm not Rachel Ray. I'm not someone that's saying they're a food guru. I don't work for Food Network. I am just a girl that wanted to make my family some apple pie. And I'm trying my best. Alright, so we're all set. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to dig into our final product. You see how warm and sizzly this apple pie is? Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and all of your loved ones. Please subscribe below. Please like this video and share it with your friends if this is also going to be your first time making apple pie.